in my opinion, the fitness industry is quite broken. It's not
hmm
actually working. So
hmm
most
hmm
gyms lose about 10 to 12% of their members every month, which
hmm
is crazy. 80% of PTs don't get past 2 years in the
Yeah, well.
industry. You can just
hmm
see them light up after 10 minutes. Yeah,
hmm
it's almost like a sense of relief you can see, kind of. Great coaches, great community. We're playing the long game. All right, team. Welcome to the first ever PEPT podcast, yet to be named. We've got a few names floating around, but nothing official yet. But today we're going to be going through the PEPT origin story. And I've got my good mate Dylan here to help us today. He's going to kind of be the MC of and chief question asker. And he's
hmm
going to try and get as much out of my brain as he can. And the reason I got Dylan on here, A, he's a world-class coach. B, he's a mentor of mine, has been helping me a lot. And C, he asks really great questions. Okay, so put the pressure on him now. So if the questions
I
aren't
was just
great,
gonna say you've put it on me.
if the questions are no good, make sure you comment below and
Yeah.
give him hell. But mate, thanks so much for jumping on today. And yeah, I'm really excited to kind of rip in and tell a bit of the story of how
Yep.
we kind of got here today for all of our members and all the people that are potentially kind of looking at coming on and giving it a go. So I appreciate it.
No, absolutely, man. And like it is a privilege because I believe what you guys are doing is truly something special. And just seeing and being in the industry for so long, what I truly love about the industry is coach first and like
Mm,
really putting the members at the front of everything you do. And to see what you guys, from a little bit of the inside of it as well has been phenomenal. So it really is a bit of a privilege, mate.
yeah. Awesome, mate.
So,
And something I just thought of, could you give us a little like 30 seconds about yourself, just so everyone kind of
yep,
gets to
beautiful.
understand? Mm,
Cool. So I've been a coach for, I did my PT certs when I was 21. I'm nearly 40 now, so it's a long time ago.
mhm,
Full time in the industry for about 12 years, owned a couple of gyms, made a heap of mistakes,
mhm.
been an online coach, coached heaps of athletes, and done heaps of cool stuff. And now basically my goal is just purely to focus on becoming an exceptional leader,
Mhm.
so that I can upgrade the human operating systems of humanity.
Very
So
cool. Very cool.
beautiful.
And yeah, and so that everyone knows, Dylan's one of my coaches. So he's helping
Mhm.
me with a bunch of stuff. And one of those things is sharing like the behind the scenes and some of the things you guys might be
Absolutely.
seeing on our socials with the things we do in our meetings and whatnot is because of this guy. So that's
Absolutely.
why
Cool.
he is here today. All right, shall we just crack on, mate? Let's do it.
Let's hook in, man, and I really want to start with what is PEPT and why is it important? And
Yep.
my first question for you, Jacob, is
Mm,
let's start with something simple.
mm.
If someone was to
Simple's good.
walk in off the street,
Yep.
how would you explain PEPT in one sentence? And then more importantly, why does it matter?
How would I explain it in one sentence? Damn, this is one of those questions that I probably need time on. Um, how would I explain it in one sentence? I would say the second part of the question is going to be a lot easier. Why is it
Mhm,
important? Can I start with that and
mhm.
then come back to
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
That's a hard question. You said start with something simple.
It's something simple.
Explain your life's work in one
Yeah.
sentence. Um, okay, why is it important? Well, I tell you why it's important because, in my opinion, the fitness industry is quite broken. It's not
Mhm,
actually working. Like if you think about this fitness industry is booming, yet
mhm.
the health of the population is declining. Right, so kind
Absolutely.
of doesn't make sense, and there's a few
Mhm,
reasons for that. Um, the biggest problem, I believe, in the industry. So, why does PEPT matter? Because we're
mhm.
trying to lead a transformation of the fitness industry. We're trying to change the way things are done. Um, because 80% of PTs don't get past 2 years in the
Yeah, well,
industry. So
Yeah.
that means that almost every personal trainer out there, the vast majority, are essentially amateurs at worst, or at
Hmm.
best, they're apprentice trainers, right? If you think of like, in my opinion, the first 4 or 5 years, you're an apprentice. You're learning the craft, and we're still learning. You and I have been doing this now for almost 20 years each. Um,
Yep.
I'm going to a 9-day course with a coach in a couple of weeks.
Hmm.
Like it never ends, but you just do a 3-month course and you're a PT. That is most of the industry. So
Mm.
unfortunately, most people's interaction with a coach is with an amateur or an apprentice coach, and
Mm.
therefore they're not getting the service they require. So
Hmm.
why it matters for what we do is we are creating long-term careers for our coaches. So our average coach has been in the industry for about 8 years. So
Yep.
far, way, way higher than typical
Hmm.
gym. And what that means is we can keep more coaches in the industry so that people, when they actually turn up to a gym, get the help that they really want and need to actually transform their lives. So, people will see on our socials the result, 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 result. Right? It's not luck. It's because we have amazing coaches and we keep them in the industry. So I believe in the value of a great coach. Having that mentor who's been there and done it can guide you along the way. And I've just seen it so many hundreds and thousands of times on how that can change somebody's life.
Hmm.
But we need more coaches in the industry staying, like, and getting good and staying good. Like, if you stay in the industry 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to be really, really good at it and you're going to be able to change people's lives. But if you go off and get a quote unquote real job, which unfortunately is kind of the trend in the industry,
Very common.
um,
Hmm.
then it's going to be the same problem, repeated over and over again. So that's why it matters.
Hmm.
Um, to explain it in one sentence, uh, great coaches, great community, um, and I would say like um, that we're playing the long game. One of our core values is play the long game. It's like we're helping people live longer, be stronger, have better quality of lives. So, how many was that? 5 sentences?
Yeah, yeah, we got there. It's
Close.
it's often difficult to unpack, when you
Yeah.
are operating at a level of excellence. And one of the things that I think that ties into all of this, and because it is obviously the goal is to improve the industry through, giving coaches great careers. How do you actually feel like that impacts the customer experience,
Mm.
but also like the member experience? And to me, it sounds like a little bit of the heartbeat of PEPT is that
Mm.
coach right at the center of it, and they're able
Yep.
to influence and impact
Mm.
your members and your people. How does that
Yep.
sort of like that coach first and that making great coaches bleed into everything you guys do?
Yeah, 100%. So, the biggest, I know a lot of gym owners and I've talked to a lot of gym owners in my life, and
Hmm.
the biggest challenge they have is what's called client churn, right? People leaving,
Yep.
right? So
Hmm.
most gyms lose about 10 to 12% of their members every month,
Hmm.
which is
Hmm.
crazy.
Hmm.
Ours is about 3%. So, and a
Yep.
lot of that's like moving away or, you know,
Hmm.
major
Hmm.
life circumstances. So how it most people walk into a gym and it's an intimidating environment. Okay, so that's like first things first. And then some 18-year-old guy comes or girl comes up to them, and they're buff and whatever. And they're like, yeah, cool. I'll be your PT. Come and, come
Yeah.
work out with me. Problem is, lack of knowledge and lack of, I would say, kind of life experience and relatability. And
Absolutely.
we get people come to us like literally every day after having a bad experience somewhere else.
Mm.
Most of our clients tend to be 40 plus, and this hurts and that hurts and yada yada. You actually
Hmm.
need a level of skill to look after and care for those people. And
Yep.
the typical like group training and gyms in general are going the way of trying to systemize everything, right? So it's like you have a
Hmm.
cheerleader in the middle of the class of 30 people, and then there's TV screens to tell you what exercises to do.
Yeah.
but my back hurts just looking at that exercise. Like, what should I do?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I guess while the rest of the industry is going to more digitizing it and trying to streamline it so they don't have to find good coaches, we're
Yeah.
almost going the exact opposite direction and saying, no, we're doubling down on the coaching. Knowledge, you can get information on the internet, whatever, type into Chat GPT, but having someone watch you do it, guide you through the process, correct you, the
Hmm.
art of coaching is,
Hmm.
I believe, more valuable than ever in a
I think,
world
man,
full of amateurs. Yeah.
no, I absolutely agree. And one thing that I'd like to highlight right here is I've
Mm.
seen you inside your gym. I've seen you on calls with myself. I've seen you presenting on stage to entrepreneurs on longevity and health and stuff like that as well. The one thing that seems consistent is you're always wearing this blue t-shirt with coach on
Oh
it.
yeah.
And so
Yep, yep.
it
Always.
doesn't change, and it
Yeah.
doesn't change because you have that literally over your heart. Like you're still a
Mm.
coach first. You still understand the power of coaching,
Yep.
and I really like that's something that stuck out to me because in different environments, people wear different outfits and things like that.
Mm.
Why, to you, do you still feel like you're growing as a coach? Why is that part of everything you do?
Mm. Yeah, so it's interesting because I don't coach any clients anymore. So,
Hmm.
we've got,
Hmm.
what are we up to? About 500 active members at the gym, whatever, at the moment.
Yep. Yep.
So it's kind of impossible to keep hands-on running
Absolutely.
sessions and all that. But I
Mhm.
see my job as like leading and mentoring our team of coaches, right? So
Yeah.
leveling up my skills so I can help them level up and have that
Hmm.
multiplication effect. And
Hmm.
like I've been in it almost as long as you, I think coming up to 18 years now.
Hmm.
Um, and I still feel like a rookie coach.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I feel like a
Yeah.
novice. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, and funny you mentioned the shirt because I'm in Mexico at the moment with my family, and I just packed this shirt just to do it in case we were doing videos. But it's six o'clock Friday night. I've got my pajama pants on, so coach shirt, pajama pants. But yeah, I think it's part of the identity,
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
and it's just what I believe in, like the value of coaching, and I'll always be that person.
It's something, man, and like I can share, like seeing obviously, hundreds of coaches and seeing, inside of one of the biggest fitness business mentoring programs in the world. You are correct in terms of everyone tries to systemize and outsource the thing that actually matters,
Mm,
and the thing
yep.
being is most fitness businesses are profit first, and like
Hmm.
there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's just you guys have gone the opposite way and put the member first. And for me, I truly believe if we just had more of that in the world, there would be some
Mm,
great world would get healthier. And but my question to you is like, why does the world need this gym? Why does the world need PEPT?
mm. Well, let me touch on one thing first that you mentioned in
Hmm.
terms of putting the member first, because
Hmm.
actually the way I look at it is we put the team first, and then the
Yep.
members get incredibly
Gotcha.
well looked after because of that. So
Yep. Phenomenal.
everyone else
Yep.
is systemizing the workouts and the whatevers. We
Yep.
systemize how we get and keep amazing coaches. That's our system, right? And then
Hmm.
because we have amazing coaches, our clients get really well looked after. Okay. And
Yep.
then that looks after the business and makes the business successful. So um yeah, playing the long game instead of, I guess, most businesses in general are always trying to maximize the month or the quarter, instead of
Yep.
how can we build something lasting and impactful. So
Hmm.
why does the world need us? I will come back to, I believe in the value of coaching. Okay, that's why I pay people like you to help me and mentor me
Yep.
and help
Hmm.
me get better. And I just know the transformative nature of that with the average person after seeing it for nearly 18 years firsthand every day,
Hmm.
multiple times. So the world needs more amazing coaches in gyms. So one of the issues, and you're well aware of it, and you mentor a bunch of online coaches, but most of the best
Hmm.
coaches go online
Yep.
because they can essentially help more people. Um,
Hmm.
and it makes more sense, you know, economically, if you want to be a one man band and you don't want to
Yeah.
build, grow the business
Mhm.
and all that.
Mhm.
The problem with that is most people aren't really like the average person doesn't go to the gym, never really done much, doesn't know what they're doing. Even when you do go to a commercial gym, those are the people that think they know what they're doing. But if you know what you're doing, you look at them and you're like, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my point is like the average person walking off the street actually needs help, okay? Because it's
Yeah,
not as
for
simple
sure.
as jump on a treadmill or do some squats.
Hmm.
There's so much nuance to it, and so the world needs
Mm.
more great coaches staying in coaching. So we need to
Yeah,
build careers and
absolutely.
build
Absolutely.
a new system around that, which is what we've done and what we're doing. We're kind of still refining that at the moment, but yeah.
Man, like if I was, yeah, like I was lucky enough to work in a great gym here in Brisbane a long time ago, and but even just hearing what you said, like I just wish I had that when I first started, you know. Like
Yeah.
I was hungry and I was looking for it all the time, and 9 times out of 10 as a coach, like as you still do, is we seek out mentors and stuff like that,
Mm,
but to have it in our place of work, that would be
yeah.
absolutely phenomenal, you know.
Yeah. And the reality is, most coaches are out there on their own, essentially running their own business,
Yeah.
even if they're at
Yep.
a gym, right? They're just
Mhm. Mhm.
subcontracting the space. So they're
Mhm.
trying to learn how to be marketers and salespeople and
Yeah.
coaches. And it's a lot and it's really difficult. So
Mhm.
in our
Mhm.
model, it's like you just become a great coach. And that allows them the freedom to not have to worry about all that other stuff and actually just look after people really well. Let me and my marketing and sales and whatnot find people,
Mhm.
and then you just
Yep.
help them as best you can.
And then obviously that leads on to a great service for, the clients and everyone that
Mm.
comes along because they're getting served by world-class coaches, which is amazing.
Yeah, 100%.
When when we look at the people who do walk into PET or, the people that would
Hmm.
love to, that if they just found what you guys do, who would
Yeah,
that person be? Like, who are
yeah,
you predominantly here to serve?
yeah. Cool. So there's three groups of people that we look after. So it's kind of all of our clients fit into one of these three buckets.
Mhm.
Bucket number one is our over 50s that want to get
Yep.
stronger, live longer, better quality of
Mhm.
life. They've got aches and pains. They've, back issue, knees, hips, everything hurts.
Yeah.
um,
I'm
and,
I'm 39, mate, and I'm starting to
yeah, yeah,
think.
yeah. You're getting close. You're getting close.
Yeah.
Not too far behind you.
Yeah.
So that's really, really common for us. And if that person walks into a typical gym,
Yeah.
they're 99% sure to have a terrible experience, get
Yep.
sold onto something that's not actually going to help them. So
Yep.
we literally have 250 plus active members that are 50 plus.
Yep.
The second group of people would
Hmm.
be the people that just vibe with our gym with no mirrors. Okay, so typical gym, you walk in, there's all these people with their headphones on, big bodybuilding guys, and mirrors everywhere, and loud music blasting, and you know that's kind of the vibe, and it can be a really kind of intimidating place. So um, the people that kind of are repulsed by that tend to be the people that love what we do. Come in,
Hmm.
get a high five, you're greeted by name, coach knows who you are, knows all about you, and is working with you multiple times per week. So the people that just appreciate that help and value the service as well as the friendly environment. And then our third bucket of people is just something we've introduced in the last 12 months, which is our youth program. So we
Hmm.
just ticked over 100 youngsters in our youth program. So they're typically from 10 to 17, a couple of different ways that we do that with those. But that's become that's kind of booming right now. And I'm
Yep.
really excited about that, like having kids myself. And,
Hmm.
you've got your own two as well.
Yep.
Um, but just seeing, we get the sporty kids for sure, but we also get like the kids that just aren't into sport and
Yep.
aren't excited by grabbing a footy and getting tackled on the weekend.
Yep.
So this becomes like their sport coming in a couple of times a week. And
Could
yeah,
could you
massive.
think of like a particular kid potentially that's walked into the gym and like
Mm.
you're just like, this is exactly why we built this program.
Oh, 100%. It happens all the time. Like, there was this girl we had a couple of weeks ago. One of our coaches was away, and I was actually running the session and kind of got the
Mhm.
heads up. This person's really anxious, and it's just their second time back, and whatever, whatever. And you can just
Mhm.
see them light up after 10 minutes, after the warm up and start to relax and get into it. And it's just like this light bulb goes off in their head because going and playing soccer or footy or netball, it's like just a little bit too much going on for them, a bit too much pressure. And, just
Yeah.
to come in, be able to run their own race, but still have a good time and get a good workout. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
it's almost like a sense of relief you can see kind of, ticking
I,
over in them.
I've
Mm.
I think too, man, if you look at like the demographics in your guys' gym as well, is like, that over 50 crowd is probably because they didn't get caught when they were kids like this program
Yeah,
now. And
yeah.
it's really cool because obviously like having gyms myself and seeing the impact of some of the younger people come through is like it's almost like a sense of duty. You feel like it's because
Mm.
I know how hard for people. You see people that have struggled with their weight their whole life,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And you just think about that impact of these kids that like, they get this right now. They understand that like gym's not as scary as everyone thinks.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
and they get that opportunity and like long term, you just know that 10, 20, 30 years down the track, that kid's got a much healthier look on life.
Oh, 100%. And something I was thinking about just today, actually, with my own kids.
Hmm.
I reckon like this is the first generation that's kind of, brought up around screens and,
Yep.
all this social media or even just YouTube and whatever, kind of
Hmm.
trying to steal their attention. And
Yeah.
they're almost the most disadvantaged group of kids in that
Ever.
sense.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they're almost like lab rats. Like we don't even know the impact long term yet. And it's
Yep.
like go back to they used to doctors used to tell you to smoke if you were stressed. Like, and then decades later we find out, oh, that's terrible for you. Like that's
It's a bad
crazy. And
advice. Yeah.
sugar is the same now that we're realizing how bad it is for
Hmm.
people. And I think in
Hmm.
10 years, so these kids are very vulnerable, I guess is my point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like the youth programs and stuff like this, and it's something personally I'd love to see more of, throughout the
Mm.
industry and especially in a really good way. Like my little girl, yesterday we took her to jujitsu for the first time. And
Mm.
it's really interesting watching as a coach because like my daughter, she's only 3 years old, goes in and they're like, all right, we're gonna teach you how to fight. And they're like getting
Yeah.
her to block and they got her to jump on top. And like in my head, I was like, there's no way she's gonna follow that. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, she's 3 years old. I'm like, I know adults don't follow this stuff. And she
Yeah.
followed it to a T. And I was like, man, we are just holding back our kids so much from physical activity. It was
Yeah. It's
unbelievable.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So
Yeah.
good. And yeah, catching them at 10 or 12,
Hmm.
instead of 25 or 30 or 40 or whatever, like game
Yep.
changing, as you say. And if
With
there's one job we have as parents, it's like help your kids be healthy. Like
yeah.
if you do nothing else, just teach them how to be healthy. And I mean, we're getting on a rant now, but uh,
Yeah.
I believe that's like our number one job as parents because without that, what have we actually given them? We've probably given them a bunch of bad habits
Mhm.
and almost like you've given them a weight to carry around for the rest of their life to try and figure out how to unravel this mess.
Absolutely, man. For the over 50s crowd, like
Mm,
obviously they come, they train, they get into the gym and
yeah,
they find that consistency. Like, what
yeah.
is the consistency? What is the transformation you'd like your older crew, the over 50s, to see outside of the gym?
Yeah. Well, we see a few different things, but the main focus with our over 50s is strength. Okay. Because we know that
Yeah.
strength is the key to longevity, right? The
Hmm.
stronger we
Hmm.
are, the longer we live, the more able bodied as we age gracefully, I guess we could say.
Yep.
So we focus heavily on strength. We
Hmm.
have a lot of clients that come to us worried about bone loss or even in their osteopenia already or osteoporosis sometimes as well. And we're able to help them rebuild that and get back into those healthy ranges. So that's one thing.
Yep.
But it's often like the things that we hear about is just like getting up off the ground, getting, um, feeling more confident, more stable on their feet. So they're not actually
Mhm.
gonna, they're not worried so much about falling, which is a massive um, killer, literally, like falls, as you would know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so keeping people strong, helping them live long, healthy, happy lives, and it's not as hard as I think a lot of people think. Like a lot of our
Yeah.
over 50s strength train with us twice a week, right? And
Hmm.
they get
Hmm.
great results from that. Some of them train more, of course, but
Hmm.
you can go a long way with 2 high quality sessions per week, and then doing your bits and pieces around that as well. So
What does that 2 sessions a week look like?
yeah, in what sense? What are we actually
So
doing in the session?
yeah, definitely. Because let me
Yep.
put my over 50
Yeah,
state
yeah,
on.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
pretend I'm
yeah,
an over 50. I'm like,
yeah.
okay. Because, the old sort of way of thinking about fitness is, okay, if I'm going in, I'm going to have to smash myself to bits to get
Yep, yep.
anything out of it. So
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
got 2 days a week, to me on
Mhm.
paper, it doesn't sound like much if I was uneducated around this sort of area.
Yep.
So what would
Yeah,
the
totally.
2 sessions per week look like? And, how can
Yep.
how can our crew get benefit from that?
Yeah, 100%. So to the first point, like, yeah, when you first start, we're actually going to hold you back and, make sure we're doing
Mm.
everything properly.
Yep.
Sometimes we'll tell you to stop that, have a bit more rest, go for a walk, whatever. Like the
Yep.
worst thing you can do when you haven't trained in a long time, especially when you're, getting older, is
Mhm.
go too hard too fast. Okay. So it's about building up steadily.
Mhm.
What you can expect: 2 whole body strength training workouts. So we're doing predominantly compound lifts.
Mhm.
If you don't know what that is, basically just things that are moving multiple joints. Like
Mhm.
you'll see on our a lot of deadlifts, a lot of trap bar deadlifts in our social media stuff, which is where you're lifting up that funny looking bar. For those who don't know what
Mhm.
that is, but the reason why that's great is because we're loading our whole body, obviously legs, our postural muscles through our back, our core strength, all those muscles supporting our spine, and it's just great bang for buck. So do lots of things like that. Yeah, focusing on lifting weights, improving posture, core strength,
Yep.
what we call
Yep.
posterior chain, which is your butt muscles, your back muscles, your back of your
Mhm.
legs, all the
Mhm.
things that tend to be neglected and limit us moving forward. So,
Mhm.
did I answer the question?
Yeah, and in terms of that, maybe just
Yeah.
so when they first come in,
Mm.
is there a warm up? Is there what
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
how
yeah.
does the coach
Ah,
guide
cool.
you along? Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So everything is coach led, meaning you never come
Mm.
to the gym and have to try and figure out what the heck am I going to do today? Because at the normal gym, that's what happens. They chuck you out there. Now you're a member. And then you walk out there and you're like, all right, how do I do any of this stuff?
I
Right.
think I think on that too, man. Like we've been coaching for years, and we still get
Mm.
people to do it because we've either got too many
Yeah.
ideas or we just don't
Yeah.
want to have the idea. We want to put our attention elsewhere.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, every time you'll come in, you'll get a high five and a g'day from one of the coaches. There's usually 2
Awesome.
coaches on the floor. So we have our group training downstairs, which
Yep.
is larger groups. We have our semi-private training as well, which is small groups of up to 6 people. So that's a
Yep.
much more like you get more coaches' attention.
Yep.
A lot of our people coming from injuries and rehab stuff, or people that just like the
Mm.
quieter kind of session. So yeah, we'll
Mhm.
guide you through a warm up, a lot of core exercise, a lot of activation exercises, basically priming the body to get ready for the
Yep.
workout. And then the
Mhm.
coaches will demonstrate the exercises that we're doing. Then we go out there in different little groups and we get started. And the coaches are forever walking around helping you, answering questions if something hurts, making changes to your technique, making sure that you're doing the right stuff. Sometimes it'll be, all right, you need to take a bit more rest and slow down. Other times it might be you're doing that too easy. Let's add that a little
Mm.
bit of weight, or let's go an extra kilo on those dumbbells next time. So
Mhm.
it takes all the guesswork out of it, and basically you're following a program that we've been kind of tweaking over the years, and you even helped me
Yep.
make it even better again. Um, you just don't find that like in general, and then on top of that you have awesome coaches actually with you. You're never more than 5-10 meters away from a coach.
Why do these details matter?
Oh, why do they matter? Oh, that's a good question. they matter because, for example, if we talked about deadlift before, done correctly, amazing, amazing exercise. Done
Mhm.
incorrectly, back issues for the rest of your life, right? Like,
Mhm.
um, and unfortunately, like I follow, as you would too, a lot of
Mhm.
different gyms and group training gyms on social media, and I get a sore back watching them on deadlift day.
They end up coming to us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
we get a lot of, not to drop names and stuff, but people come from other gyms and be like, oh yeah, I
My
felt
body's
worse.
just
So hurt my back
yeah.
and my shoulder hurts, and then they'll come and
Yeah.
train with us for a period of time. Like, well, I feel really good. And it's not about
Absolutely.
going as hard as you can every single day.
Hmm.
These things we need to periodize. We need to be smart about what we're doing, and we need to
Yep.
understand what's our actual goal, right? Um,
Yeah.
and be sensible. And that's unfortunately one of the issues with going back to the start with the young PTs that are still in their apprenticeship,
Mm.
which is most of the people running these sessions in most gyms. Yeah.
Well, even if we look back to us, I'm sure like when we were in our 20s, I know for me in particular, I thought I was bulletproof.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
presumed everyone else was too, you know? So it's
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. We get it all the time. Like someone will come in, they're like 55, 60 or whatever. And they're like, I went to this gym down here and, you know, this 18-year-old was telling me to do burpees and I was saying my back hurts. And they're like, you know, no
Just
pain, no
push through.
gain, or yeah, it's
Yeah,
only
yeah.
for another 2 minutes. You'll be right.
And
Whatever.
that's where I truly think, man, like in terms of your guys helping these coaches, because they just simply
Mm.
don't know, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not it's a real shame, one, obviously for, the members that have to go through that, but it's also a shame for the coach because they're just like,
Mm.
oh, no, I thought that's what we were meant to do.
Yeah.
This is what is meant to get people fit and strong and
Yeah.
all of that, but they just don't
Mm.
know, which is a shame.
And to be fair, like it's a very complex topic. Like we're talking about human beings, like
Absolutely. Absolutely.
the physical performance, and obviously physios go to uni for 4 or 5 years, whatever.
Yep.
But then we also have the psychology part of it as well. So you're
Absolutely.
kind of like a physio, an exercise physiologist, a personal trainer, a
Mhm.
psychologist, all at
Mhm.
the same time in a way. And then for the average PT, chuck on top of that trying to be a marketer and a salesperson. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yep,
what?
for
So yeah,
sure.
if you don't have people actually helping you and whatever, like, whew, good luck.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. I think that leads me on to the next part of this is a
Mm.
bit of the backstory. So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
can you take us back
Mm.
to
The
where
long
all of
story.
this began? Yeah, where did PEPT, what was
Yeah.
going on in your life and where did the idea of
Mm.
PEPT come from?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, I grew up in country Queensland, a little place called
Yep.
Dysart originally, and then when I was 9, we moved to Yeppoon, which is another town, but a little bit bigger, like
Mhm.
20,000 people.
Mhm.
So yeah, I finished school. I moved to Brisbane because I wanted to play AFL, and that was my kind
Mhm.
of dream. So I did a traineeship with AFL Queensland, where basically you go around to schools teaching kids how to kick the ball, stuff
Yeah.
like. And then you go do your footy training at night and all that. So anyway, so I had kind of a gap year, and then had a bunch of injuries and stuff, and I started uni the year after, which
Hmm.
was exercise and sports science at QUT there.
Cool.
And I must have been about 2.5, 3 years into, you know, just barely passing my way through uni and partying too much.
Hmm.
When I got this email one day said like you can do this PT course in a weekend because of all your RPLs, right? Yeah, recognized
Hmm.
prior learnings. And I was like,
Hmm.
that sounds a lot better than working in the warehouse that I was working in, you know, to pay my uni bills, and I was still doing a bit of AFL stuff there as well. So anyway, I was
Hmm.
like jumped at that, and then once I finished the course, I was trying to balance everything, uni and trying to train a few people on the side and all of that, and work, and I was just like, this is too much. And I soon realized that if I continue down this path of uni, basically I'm going to be a nutritionist, which means I can
Mm.
write meal plans for someone, essentially,
Hmm. Hmm.
that they're probably not going to follow.
Yeah.
To be fair. And then I looked over here. I was like, or I can be a PT and go and train these people, see them every other
Yep.
day, have an awesome impact. And I'm really loving this. And I just got this feeling that like that's my path. So I quit
Mm.
uni about two-thirds of the way through.
Yep.
Um, my mum didn't like that too much, but such is life. And yeah, so from then on, just kind of full on into the PT stuff. Um, Originally, I was working at a thing called Original Boot Camp. Do you remember that?
I don't
Boot,
know.
it was like boot camps on the beach, basically. So it's
Oh,
like
cool.
army style, army style boot camps. We'd have a whistle and yeah. So it's kind of full on. We're running around with the
Times.
ropes on the beach, and basically, I was that was my first kind of PT job, and it was
Hmm.
in Redcliffe, and I lived in Alderley, which is about 45-minute drive.
Yep.
So I
Hmm.
used to like get up at 3:30, drive out to Redcliffe an hour early, set up, do the pack up, go home after that. And it took me about 3 hours, I remember. And I got paid $20 a session. So
$7 an hour.
that, that
Yeah,
was my kind of, but I was doing it for the experience,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
eventually me and the other guy that were running it, we kind of took that over. And then I was doing PTs on the side. And then eventually I just
Mhm.
kind of focused on the PT
Yep.
stuff. And that was nearly 18 years ago when that all started.
Yep.
So I guess that's the initial start of it. And then I spent the first or the next 10 years or so
Mm.
um, building up a chain of gyms, basically. So we had 13 gyms there in the end.
Yep.
We had one in India as well, which was like a whole nother story. And that was like,
Yep.
um, not probably the best decision, but I wouldn't take it back because I learned so much about it,
Absolutely.
about
Yep.
myself and business and life and
Hmm.
all the rest of it. But in the end, that kind of blew up in flames start of 2020, just before COVID, actually. So,
Yep.
it was I remember it was the 31st of December 2019 when basically I got a call that meant we had to liquidate the company and essentially that's it. Um,
Hmm.
and the craziest thing, because that was my life for 12 years, kind of building this thing up, right? And then
Yep.
made some bad decisions along the way. And,
Yep.
but I was 20 something trying to change the world. So,
Absolutely.
I give myself grace for that. I was having a crack, but
Hmm.
yeah, I'd probably change a few things if I had it over.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, the very next day we found out we were having our first son. So it was like 31st of December 2019. All right, that's the end of that chapter of my life, basically. Like there's no other way. Um, and then the very next day, it was almost like new chapter. So yeah, that was pretty crazy timing. But I do reckon everything happens for a reason, and
With so
yeah,
essentially on the 31st of December, you were like, look, that's
yeah,
fitness done. Where that's that gone and done. And
yeah, yeah.
then obviously
Like
the baby boy the next day.
yeah, yeah. So we found out, yeah, we were having a kid. So to me, I kind of in hindsight, I take that as almost like you're getting the message from the universe or whatever you want to believe, but
Yep.
it's like this is not the end, this is the beginning, is kind of how
Yeah,
I
right.
tried to take it, even
Yep.
though it was incredibly difficult period to go through because we built this thing up and like I spent like every bit of energy. I was actually very sick at the time. I had adrenal fatigue and just like really
Yep.
low and yeah, felt pretty terrible. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy how it all works out. And then COVID happened, which was kind of like a chance to breathe a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, and then what happened after that? We just spent the next 5 years up until this point trying to build something great. And in the first year or two, it was really just kind of, you know,
Hmm.
do what you got to do to try and start from zero. So literally just started the gym from like after COVID. I think we had like 20 clients or something. Like
Yeah.
it was it was crazy. Like literally zero, and just working really really hard. And then over that 4 or 5 year period, now we've really fine tuned how we're doing it. And now I believe like I'm really grateful for everything that happened because, in building those 13 gyms, I made a lot of mistakes and realized I basically was doing what everyone else in the fitness industry does. And
Yeah.
I realized it doesn't work. And this is why you'll constantly see gyms opening and closing and changing hands.
100%. Yeah.
It's just, it's crazy. And I was at a point where we can't just do the same thing again. And we can't
Yeah.
do what everyone else is doing because what everyone else is doing, it does not work. And I can see that now.
It's a failing model
Um,
for sure.
it's a model that doesn't work. So, you're losing
Mhm.
trainers all the time. So I had to kind of come back and think about what's the thing that would make this gym simple, easy, and like make it amazing? And how can we build the best gym in the world? And I really came back to finding and keeping the best coaches. And
Yeah.
then that started the process of like building a system for that. And now we've built out like a whole career pathway. And now we've got some of our coaches that have been around for like over 3 years in that pathway, and they
Yeah.
have amazing careers, right? And all the guys starting can see the future and it's laid out there in front of them. And then obviously we help them get it because it's set up so that when you win, the business wins. So it's got to be
Mhm.
win-win. It's win-win-win because the client wins as well because they get to keep great coaches. We get people come to us because their favorite coach left the other gym and they replace them with some kid who doesn't know what they don't know. You know what I
That's
mean?
so common. Yeah,
Yeah,
like literally like a coach will have to move on or leave and then,
yeah,
like the whole vibe and energy of the place changes. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So our thing is like one of our core values is play the long game. So we're not
Yeah.
interested in hiring people that can only be here for 6 or 12 or 24 months. It's like, do you see a future where in 10 years' time you could be managing a location and, or, just being a kick ass coach and you're still here? My belief is if we've still got people here in 10 years' time that are here today,
Yeah.
it's game over. Like, that's, you know, you can't
It
compete with that.
solves it solves a big, big problem too of
Mm.
like 90% of coaches get into the industry because they're passionate and they want to help people. Then
Yeah.
all of a sudden they're like, I can't pay my bills.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
so that passion and fire, like it's very hard to maintain when you literally can't pay your rent. And
Yeah.
so this solving of this just keeps passionate coaches and people that are really genuinely there to help people. And I think it's
Yeah.
phenomenal, isn't it? Mm,
Yeah, 100%. It's
mm.
crazy. Like in one way, we're still quite a young industry. Um,
Yeah. Yep.
and it's kind of evolving, but I believe this is the direction it has to go in. And I believe we are the people to show this is the way. And then everyone else is going to have to try and copy to some degree to
Mhm,
compete
mhm,
at some point in time,
mhm.
which is what we want. We want to start that ball rolling, you know what I mean? So that, because right now it's basically full of franchises or
Yep.
one man bands with a few helpers, really. But
Yeah.
the one man bands run out of steam because they can't do it forever, like
They're a
early mornings,
one-man
late
band.
nights, 7 days a
Yep.
week. And the
Hmm.
franchises is essentially, I believe, like more or less a broken model. Like there are some successful ones, but the average one
Hmm.
is not because they spend all
Hmm.
this money up front, and then they give a big chunk of their revenue away to the franchisor, and it makes it
Yep.
really, really difficult to run a great business.
Yeah.
I've got a visitor here, buddy. Just not finished yet, buddy. Not finished yet.
How you going, little man? Cool. Um, Man, obviously,
Ben, I'm still going here.
that's
We'll
cool.
be finished soon, buddy. 10 minutes, huh? Yeah, I'll come out in 10 minutes, bud. Hmm? Come on, buddy. You want to sit here with me for a minute? I'll be out in a second. The joys
Cool.
of life on the road. Hey.
It's tough, man, and but obviously, like it's amazing that we're able to be in
Yeah.
this position, aren't we?
Oh yeah.
I think man, obviously, like one thing that stands out to me too, just as a person, obviously, that was a big, big challenge. You went through a bit
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
darkness, then obviously having to flip the switch the next day. And that's
Mm.
obviously built a ton of resilience. I guess, 5 years removed from that now, does it all
Mm.
make sense looking back?
Yeah, definitely. This is the guy we were just talking about.
I know,
Okay,
yeah.
buddy.
It's pretty unreal, isn't it?
um, does it all make sense? Yeah, absolutely. I think you want to go and eat some food, bud? Um, how would I answer that? So yes, 100%. Like I'm a big believer in that, everything happens for us, not to us, and that's
Mhm.
it's an
Mhm.
opportunity to learn and grow.
Mhm.
Um, and I also believe that you don't get given challenges that you can't handle, right? So
Absolutely.
life gives you these challenges to invite you to step up and help you become the person. And I also believe that we wouldn't have what we have today, which is what I believe is something that can really transform the industry and a lot of lives,
Mhm.
both the trainers and the clients who benefit from those trainers.
Mhm.
We wouldn't have that if I didn't go through all of that because I was just so busy putting out fires and trying to keep the thing going.
Mhm.
Okay, buddy. I'll be down soon, okay? Um, yeah, if that didn't happen the way it happened, we wouldn't have what we have today. So, whilst I didn't enjoy the process and growth is never fun, generally speaking, um, yeah, I wouldn't trade it in because I believe like it's helped me become the person that I'm capable of being. And I still think I'm just at the start of that, if that makes sense.
No, definitely does, man. And one thing that, like, as you said, it happens to us for a reason.
Mhm.
Like, what is 10 years from now?
We're doing a video because Dylan's asking me a lot of questions so we can teach our clients why we do what we do at the gym. Is that a good idea?
Mm.
And is strength training important? Yeah. he's,
Well
he,
handled.
he
Um,
always says, what happens if you don't do strength training? Funny.
to revisit that question, so
Yeah.
man, obviously, like, it's given you a lot of lessons, and you've built
Mm,
something very, very cool now. Like, where does it
mm,
lead to 10 years from now? What does the future look
mm.
like for PEPT, the coaches and the members?
Yeah. So one thing I learned, I guess, early on, when I was
Hmm.
21, my best mate passed away in a car accident.
Yep.
And I guess what I learned from that is, we're all going to die. And
Yeah.
then, so if I'm going to be here, I want to go big. And everything that's ever been done that's great is just from
It's
a normal person. I
Yep.
got this funny story that popped into my head the other day, like because we had to go through the US to get here to Mexico, and every time I go to a US airport, they have these doors in the bathrooms that have this like big gap in them. And it's like the worst designed doors like ever, right? Yet they seem to be in every American bathroom. So I realized like the person who made these shitty doors is a millionaire. They've put them
Yeah.
in and sold them to every American airport and they have this terrible product. So if they can
Mm.
kind of do that big thing with that crap freaking door,
Yep.
why can't I change the industry with something incredible that changes people's lives, right? So
Absolutely.
I kind of always look for those kind of things to remind myself. But going back to your question, the the minimum in my head is 500 of these gyms over the
Hmm.
next 23 years. So we've worked out that
Hmm.
if we just add two more gyms than the previous year each year, it compounds, and in 23 years we have 500 of them.
Hmm.
But as I kind of travel around these last few weeks and everywhere I go, I just see people that need help.
Yeah.
I see people walking around with no idea. I see people at gyms when I go and work out that have no idea that would just benefit greatly from working with us. And
Hmm.
I walked with my son the other day to get a coffee in the morning, and we walked past these two little tiny personal training studios. And
Hmm.
you know, it doesn't take long for you or I to realize if a coach knows their stuff, or
Yeah.
it's pretty obvious that they could use with some help. All right. And the people going to those classes and sessions and workouts with those people could use some help. So
Mhm.
I actually think like that's scratching the surface.
Mm,
You know, that would be a pretty big company in the fitness industry. That would definitely
yeah,
change the way the industry is done. But
yeah.
I reckon, I don't see any reason why we can't actually go bigger than that. And we've had a bunch of unique experiences, I think, that put us in a good position to do that. And I believe we're zigging when everyone else is zagging, or vice versa, whichever way you want to put it.
I wrote that down before. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Which is,
yeah.
is basically where all opportunity lies. Everyone else is
Absolutely.
franchising, and I
Yeah, yeah.
believe they're franchising those businesses because they haven't figured out how to run them incredibly well.
They
Um,
haven't figured out how to coach as well, which is
yeah, it's
yeah,
easier to sell a franchise than it is to run a great gym.
and develop coaches and people
Yeah,
for sure.
just kind of
Yeah.
make it someone else's problem, and you've got
Hmm.
the money up front. So we're
Hmm.
definitely
Hmm.
not going down that route. We've dabbled in that in the past, and I just hated it. I want
Hmm.
everyone on the same mission, all right, and full control over the process so that we can make sure it's amazing, it's world class, um, and we've got the best people, and we have full control over our people because that is our product and our asset at the end of the day.
Is there anything that scares you about that vision?
Scares me, yeah, probably living overseas. I imagine I'm going to have to probably
Hmm.
live in the US for a period of time at some point.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, Not a big fan of some of the things that go on. As
Yeah.
we all see the news and stuff, but I worry about my kids and moving them. If we have to move for a year, 2, 3 years, whatever, to kind of establish something that
Hmm.
that's years down the track. But yeah, so if something scares me about it, it's about um, taking time away from my kids.
Yeah.
So I guess my big thing is I've got to figure out a way to do it whilst still being a great dad. That's probably the biggest thing. Yeah, which I
That's
believe is
incredible.
doable. Right, it's doable.
Oh,
But you
100%.
have to be intentional with it. Mm.
Yeah, and I think if you just that value at the foremost of everything, it's
Yeah.
as you said before when we started this, that coach, that
Mm.
mentor, that leader. I was saying to my partner just the other day, I was just like, look, we're essentially coaches for our children,
Yeah.
and
100%.
that example, and I think in terms of just, and that's why my biggest thing is just become the best leader I possibly can, and I know that
Mm.
whatever opens up behind or in front or to the side of that is
Yep.
just a product of my level of being able to lead and communicate really, really well. So, um, I think in
Mm.
terms of that, would there be anything that scares you if it doesn't happen?
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting question. Um, yeah, I'd say if I got to the end of my life
Hmm.
and I hadn't actually done something significant to, I guess, improve,
Hmm.
um, like my highest value is impact. So if I
Yeah.
haven't actually had a large positive impact, I probably feel like I'd wasted my time, wasted my life, and haven't probably set the best example.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's probably it. Yeah, wherever that comes from, I don't know, but it's always been important to me to actually do something. I want to say like worthwhile, but like impactful,
Mhm.
and not
Mhm.
not just kind of like running a gym's great, and we help hundreds of people, but I just
Mhm.
believe I was born to do more than that, if that makes sense.
No, definitely. And you
Yeah.
look at everyone who's ever done anything great is that wherever your ideal, of like, okay, cool. We understand the sacrifice and we understand
Mm.
the consequences both sides. But, there has to be just that big, big mission behind it, or else people just run out of steam. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like yeah, you were telling me something about this the other day. Like you got your physical energy, but then you've also got your that pull energy
Purpose.
for the
Yep.
purpose and mission, um
Yep.
and that's something also I think Like most people just never quite, well, I think most people know what their purpose is, but they are sometimes afraid to admit it because that would mean taking full responsibility for their life and going for it.
Mhm.
But I kind of look at it the other way. It's like I mentioned my mate earlier and the that lesson early on, but it's almost like the reverse of that. Like if you
Yeah.
don't follow your purpose, your mission, your heart, whatever you want to call it, and like 100% go after that in your life, then what are you actually doing?
Mhm.
Like you're essentially admitting defeat and then just continuing to play out the game. You know what I mean? And that to
There's
me
yeah.
sounds like a waste. Yeah.
There's a brilliant quote, and I can't exactly remember who said it, but it's like, if we live a life where we leave the graveyard only our bones and not our brilliance, we've lived a good
Mm,
life, you know? And
yeah.
it's basically you fall in that casket one day, and the only thing that's left is your bones, because
Yeah.
everything that your gifts, the way that have been essentially put
Yeah.
here, is absolutely emptied for the planet,
Mm,
which is an incredible thing to do.
100%. And it just makes me think like I also reckon there's, for me anyway, I feel a sense of duty to do it because I feel like
Absolutely.
I've got these experiences and this knowledge and all these things that, I would say very, very few people in the world have done all those things, especially in,
Mhm.
in our industry and have the skills and knowledge and belief that we can actually do something, you know, different. And if I don't do it, who's going to do it? Like, so I think like it's hey, I want to do it, but also feel like I got to do it. Like if I don't do it, I'd be letting myself down and all those people that we could potentially help. And so when you talked about the thing that could scare you, it's not going hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would scare me.
Yeah.
Like so it's something I kind of juggling with at the moment in terms of do we, grow slow and steady and
Mhm.
that there's without getting into a business bloody
Yeah.
debate here. Like, do I, I can get debt and cash and use cash and grow off the profits of the location, and that will be a slower and steady approach, or do I get an investor to come in, put millions of dollars in, and go gas it, you know? And I think that will come later. Um, but it is something I wrestle with because what if something happens to me in 3 years' time and we haven't really hit escape velocity yet, where it can
Mhm.
roll on without me? Um,
Mhm.
because we never know what's around the corner. So that would be something that I guess concerns me, scares me, like getting to the end of your life and you haven't actually um, haven't had the impact.
Yeah. Absolutely incredible, man. I think that is a great place here to finish up. And for anyone who is I guess listening to this or has been insightful for this and they're thinking about PEPT, what would be the one thing that you would love them to know before they walk in the doors?
Mm. Just I guess that it's people first. That's how we do it. So we put our
Mm.
team first, so our team can be there and be the best version of themselves for our clients. So, um, you know, we kind of built our philosophy on being the anti gym. So most gyms are full of mirrors and intimidating, very cold kind of environments. We're the opposite of that. We want to be warm. And at the end of the day, look, come on in for a chat. 9 times out of 10, we can help you. And if it's not for you, what have you lost? But the thing that hurts me the most or frustrates me the most is it's often the people that are listening to this that need it the most that are the most reluctant to take that first step. So, um,
Mhm.
change is not comfortable. Like it does require a level of stepping outside of yourself. Um, but I can guarantee it's worth it. And we change people's lives every single day. Um,
Yeah.
why not you?
And that's where, the coaches, the long term of, their coaching skill set, but also that psychology of understanding someone who's just walking into the gym for maybe the first time in years. And
Yeah,
that ability to actually connect with that person is just going to make all the difference.
yeah, 100%. And if you're in doubt, go and check out Google reviews.
Beautiful. Awesome,
Mate,
man.
thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, it got me going there a few times. Got a few rants in there. But I really appreciate it, and hopefully everyone listening got something out of it. If you have questions, pop them in the comments, whatever, depending on where you're at. Oh, look, we've got another visitor. This is number 2 over here.
How
So
you going,
yeah,
little
mate,
man?
really appreciate you. And oh, everyone's in here now. Oh, you're number 1. Oh. All right, we might leave it on that note. Good timing. Hello. Mate, yeah, thanks again, and we'll see everyone on the next episode. Bye.
Yeah, mate. Cool. Have a good one. I'll talk soon.